Oh man.
Yeah,
Done
let
with
me clear the
that.
throat out real quick. Send out these tweets.
Oh yeah, geez, yeah. That's why we do this early on,
Feeling
man.
very sluggish these last couple days.
Really? Well, I didn't ask you, how did your Thanksgiving go?
The Thanksgiving was good. It was nice. It was the first time that I haven't had to cover a football game
Right.
in a non-COVID year in a long time. So it was nice. Although I was highly coveted, had a lot of opportunities to
Did you really?
turned them all down.
Well, I don't cannot say that I blame you. I had one myself, and luckily I had a built-in excuse. Couldn't do it. Gonna be in Connecticut for the
Now,
holidays. So.
where in Connecticut did you go?
It's like central. It's well, Wethersfield. I think it's the oldest town in Connecticut. Yeah, oldest town in Connecticut. So I've been told, at least. But I think that's up. I think that's up for question.
What do you think about the state of Connecticut?
Uh, I mean, I'm fine with it. Like my brother lives there now. So, what? That's right. You were in New York, so you must have opinions about it.
I hate Connecticut, and
Uh,
it has nothing to do with the people. Some of the people I know there are very nice, and long lasting friends from there. It's the drive. It's
mm,
the taking 95 south from Massachusetts through Rhode Island, which is a breeze. It's about 90 minutes tops to break into Connecticut, and
mm,
then it's a complete standstill 95 south through Connecticut for like 90 exits.
mm.
It's ongoing traffic there. It's a 2-lane highway that's always under construction. I
Yep,
can't stand it.
definitely always under
It's a
construction too.
connector state, and it's neither nor New England nor tri-state. You know how I feel about lukewarm takes. Since you are neither hot nor cold, I spit you out of my
Well,
mouth.
it is New England. I mean, there are 6 states in New England, and that's one of them. But
But they also claim to be tri-state.
they actually okay. Well,
New
that's just.
York, Connecticut, New Jersey.
I understand being split on like Red Sox, Yankees, or Giants and Patriots or whatever, but that doesn't make any sense. But
Yeah, and it's like the 84 corridor, right? Like that's the 84 line. I think is like the
hmm.
divider.
I had to drive to
I could be
Yukon there
mistaken.
for like a camp in high school, and oh my god, in the middle of friggin' nowhere, and it was snowing out. Like we were in my dad's Jeep, but it was absolutely brutal. Yeah, I mean, some parts of Connecticut I like, but yeah,
What I will say though, for is a nice drive if it's open roads and no traffic is the Merrick Parkway. Maybe in the fall time, maybe during a light snowfall. That's a very nice scenic route. You're probably familiar with that. The Merrick Parkway. That's on the way to
yeah,
Sacred Heart in that area.
that absolutely is. Yes, I took me a second there. Yes, absolutely. I haven't been on that in a while though.
It runs adjacent to 95 or perpendicular, whatever runs parallel. That's it.
Parallel.
There we go.
Okay, nice. Speaking of the devil, my brother's trying to call me. He doesn't realize I'm in the middle of the show.
Well, yeah, go tell him to fuck off real quick.
Clown. Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna put on
Okay.
speaker.
What do you say we get this started here?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, yeah, let's get this one over and done with, Nick.
Oh man, this is gonna be something.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Is it really a crime to steal a podcast that wasn't stolen from you? Isn't that what OJ got in trouble for the second time? Welcome back to another episode of Change My Mind. I am, of course, Wesley Sykes. Through the other side of the ether is the Harry to my Marv. At least I wish it were. Mr. Nicholas J. Esquire, German doll for hire.
We haven't done something like this in a long time, and I think I now know why.
Yeah, this is a tough watch here, and
Oh yeah.
when we have such little of the holiday season to make the most out of it, should we be spending our time watching trash like we're about to discuss today?
I mean, yes and no, because I like doing this every once in a while with you because it is fun.
Sure.
Especially when we're on the same page and we just want to rip something. And
It's
there's
kind of like a
lot.
Festivus, like an airing of grievances of sorts.
That's exactly what this is, and we should actually have a DSG Festivus now that I'm thinking of it. And that's actually all right. Got to get the wheels turning on that one. But this is definitely a good little change my mind Festivus. I know we have like a couple nice things planned for later in the month, but this is bad.
This is, and we'll just tear away the curtain at this point. We're discussing the 6th, which is weird to say. I was thrown back by this here. The 6th installment of the Home Alone series, Home Sweet Home Alone, now streaming on Disney Plus.
The sixth?
Nick, you're giving me a perplexed look here. Yes.
I thought this was the fourth. I didn't know that.
No, there's Home Alone 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then there's a Home Alone holiday special edition or something like that, and then there's this one.
Dear Lord. Okay, I'm seeing this now. Okay, so all right. So there was 3 films, and then we had a few television films, including what we're talking about today. Good Lord. That's embarrassing.
I guess this is a television film. That's
streaming.
This is more than a television film, but less than a feature film, right?
Did you know they had Home Alone video games?
No, but all I remember is the talkback, the walkie-talkie. That's all I wanted. That's all I needed in my life.
I thought that Home Alone 3. Well, Home Alone 3 is terrible. So how many of them have you seen? Because I've only seen the first.
We'll discuss this because that's part of the exit survey questions that we'll be conducting a little later on. Before we get to all of that, Nick, I have a pressing question to ask you. Did you get your Spider-Man No Way Home pre-sale tickets yet? And do you care to do something like that? If not,
no, I get them when it comes. Because I feel like in our area, whether we're talking about the Cape, Southern New England, or Southern Massachusetts, I guess
we're not in the city.
Boston. Yeah, even in Boston, I've usually been fine when it comes to getting this stuff. So no, we have options. We'll be fine. I don't understand what all that paranoia is about. Like I saw Casey, of course, tweeting about it, which is always good for everybody's health.
Speaking of Festivus, right? I mean, just go to his Twitter page for a good airing of grievances, and it'll get you riled up. If you're not mad about something, you will be after going to his Twitter page.
Yeah.
Sure. But no, I'm with him on this, generally speaking, because again, I agree with you exactly what we're saying. I think this is just a marketing ploy. Much like, if you want to even pull on the sweater a little bit more here, I think all of these like leaks about the Spider-Man photos and everything like that have come out that everyone kind of knows is almost like a guerrilla marketing campaign here. Or maybe that Marvel's kind of leaned into it and maybe started to leak some things on their own here because it's happening so much. I mean, I feel like we know the whole movie.
Yeah, and that's, to me, that's got to be a great sign because if they are letting all of this stuff kind of leak out, you don't need to sell Spider-Man. There's no reason for it whatsoever. Right. But if they're doing something like this, and they got to be really confident in everything that they're hiding from us, it's not going to matter how much you guys know because you're just not prepared for what's coming.
Maybe it is. I don't know. Or maybe it's like, we can't stop all these leaks anyway, so maybe we'll just flood the market.
Maybe, Wes, but we've seen them fight off leaks a pretty fair amount, don't you think?
Yeah, but this one seems like it's been the worst.
Yeah.
And maybe that's like a recency bias sort of thing. I'm sure Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame were like that, Civil War to a degree. But this feels like everyone knows what's going on, and then everyone's trying to pull and be the first to kind of get the next big breaking tip about this movie.
Do you think the Eternals had something to do with that?
No.
Okay.
No, because I feel like this is happening before the Eternals. It's like, whether we were getting the trailer, when we were getting the trailer, are we confirming? Are there 3 Spider-Men? Who are the Sinister Six? And it's like, it's kind of wink, wink, nod, nod. We know the Spider-Men are in this, but we haven't officially announced it yet.
Yeah, that's I get, but like they probably knew going into the Eternals, like something's like it might not land like we thought it would. I don't know. I'm wondering if that has an influence on it.
But I can see that.
Still, you don't need at the same time. You don't need to sell Spider-Man at all. Like it doesn't matter if you go and give us like a flaming pile of shit Wolverine movie. Like you're still gonna want to see Spider-Man. I don't know.
Yeah, it is weird. Who didn't want to sell things, and he has a little bit of a branding issue of his own, is our very own Hawkeye. Of course, now available on Disney Plus, the latest installment of the MCU Disney Plus TV series. We got episode 1 and 2, a little early pre-Thanksgiving drop here. I think you're almost up to date. You're one episode in.
Yeah, I hate saying this, but I'm actually a little behind. I think with all the holiday stuff, I wasn't able to
get bogged down. You got all the sales to kind of catch up on,
right? And of course, gotta make time for the new Home Alone movie that we decided to watch. Much rather watch that than Hawkeye. But I did get to watch the first episode. I have seen some information, I guess, that leaked out a little bit regarding the first 2 episodes, or the second episode, I should say. And that's fair game. That's going to happen. But I really liked what I saw from the first episode. I thought they did a good job kind of setting up Kate Bishop and everything and seeing why she would have, these look up to Hawkeye so much. I like how they've set the stage for Hawkeye and where he kind of stands in the mix of things too, how he feels about himself and what he's trying to do right now as a dad. So I feel great off of the first episode, and I know you. And it seemed like at least you guys were pretty pleased with things.
I was over the moon with this. I think pretty pleased is kind of underselling it. I've loved everything about this series, and again, maybe it's expectations, but this seems like a fresher breath air, if you will. But I think that will. I still can't get over because I did not mean to do that on purpose.
Oh my god! Again,
a breath of fresh air. Excuse me. After watching Loki and Marvel's What If and Eternals and these kind of like big space robot idea sort of things. You know,
no, but I'm
such a jackass.
It's perfect. Sure, you didn't do it on purpose, right? After the last time with the horses,
Billy, make the shirt, Billy.
But I gotta say, like you've said it, the grounded stuff. Give me more grounded heroes and everything. I'm so glad that you feel that way because I'm 100% about that too. Give us as much of this as we possibly can get. Of course, you still got to respect everything that's going on with whether it's multiversal stuff or galactic, cosmic stuff. Absolutely got to acknowledge those things, but I'm here for the grounded heroes, absolutely 100%. Until we get the X-Men, which are going to kind of go between the two, but I'm fine with that. The X-Men, largely can do no wrong.
Yeah, I'm holding my breath with bated breath, right? I'm waiting with bated breath for the X-Men here. Don't even have an announcement on that, but until then, for the Hawkeye here again, I felt like we've lost that connection to the MCU a little bit as we go further off into space and mysticism. Like I can't relate to a floating Doctor Strange who is, as a duplicate evil version of himself, or Wenwu who has 10 rings is getting called by, a dark creature behind a mountain. I can't relate to that, but I can relate to the stuff that Kate Bishop and Clint Barton are going through because they're humans at the end of the day who are vulnerable.
Yeah, and I'm much the mystic stuff is much easier for me. Like you can definitely sell me on that stuff, and as much as I like Star Wars a lot, that's where I want to get all my galactic stuff. So, in as much as I like Guardians too, that's going to be a little bit of a harder sell for me. So, yes, I care about it, but this right here is definitely what I care about. Number one, outside of any X-Men stuff that we get down the line. So, and of course, for those who don't know already, I mean, I know that Hot Guys on Hawkeye is the most popular DSG podcast going. Make sure you go listen to that. And if you want to know a little bit more about what to expect from Kate Bishop in Hawkeye in this series too, Doc talked about the comic book series this was largely based off of. So make sure you guys go
Fractions, Hawkeye. Yep.
Yes, I know Keith has plugged it too on Dork before that specific comic book, but Joe talked about it at length a little bit, and I believe it's available on Hoopla for those who want to read it too. But Joe loved it, absolutely loved it.
Yeah, no, it was the first 2 episodes were great, and if it was anything like just basing off the source material of the comic book, that should be great as well. Let's switch gears a little bit to some Super Mario Brothers action. This is
I don't get this.
We're gonna dip some toes into hot water here because I might butcher this name here. Chris Meledandri.
Yeah, you were right.
Meledandri, yeah, whatever. Yeah, the producer of the Super Mario Brothers movie says that Chris Pratt won't be using Mario's usual accent and won't be leaning too heavily on the "it's a Mario" type of trope that we've gotten used to over the years from the video games.
Yeah.
What's weird though, he goes on to add that Charlie Day, who is apparently Italian, because he just looks, just screams Italian. He's apparently of Italian heritage and is voicing the character of Luigi. And it says that Charlie Day more or less checks that box in place of Mario and Chris Pratt, which I think is kind of weird. That's like, we got one here, so we don't need the other. The whole thing just seems like a bunch of PR nightmare.
Well, I just watched. I'm kind of jumping ahead on what we're going to do for the Discharge Depot, but I'll just say that I watched a movie that had a lot of people playing Italian individuals, real life Italian individuals. And as much as, Mario's accent is probably more a caricature, and maybe some people find offensive, maybe find his, it's a me Mario thing. If you don't want to do that, then try and go like a little bit more like authentic Italian, like we saw certain actors just do in a movie dealing with some pretty heavy hitting characters. And I don't know if they're all Italian in that movie. So you could easily go that route. Or if it makes it better, I don't know, then get an Italian who's comfortable with, playing that role and mocking their heritage. I don't know if that's necessarily the right route, but I think the other one's a much safer route. Or Chris Pratt, maybe try and do an authentic Italian accent. Like, if he sucks at it, then he shouldn't have the role, I guess, at the end of it.
I don't know why this is such a big deal. Is why people care about having Italian representation. I didn't know, that was there. Do people really care about like Irish representation? Like,
no,
I don't know. Polish representation. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems like a weird thing that Italian is. Like, whatever. He wants to do the voice. He wants to do the voice. He doesn't. He doesn't. Well, it's going to be a crappy animated movie anyway.
Oh, it's an animated movie in the end?
I'm pretty sure. It's animated.
If it's an animated movie, that's even worse. Then why are you casting Chris Pratt? You don't. It's like, my thing is, Wes, like, if you want to do, like, have him do an Italian accent, like this character is Italian, like, to take away his accent. I understand if you don't want to take the caricature version, like, if you don't want to do that, that's fine, whatever. I understand times are different and whatever, but he should still have an Italian accent. Like, if you want to make it legitimate, like we saw in the movie that I'll talk about a little bit later on, then do that. I think that makes a lot more sense. And you don't need to be Italian to do that.
It's a video game plumber going down pipes and eating mushrooms and spitting fires from plants. Like, what are we talking about? Is it really that big of a deal? He starts flying because he puts on a raccoon costume.
That's right. And he rides dinosaur too.
Right. This is all just like crazy stuff. It's not real people to me. Like, why do people get upset about that?
You agree that he should be doing an accent in some capacity?
He should be doing, if he's going to be playing Mario, he should be doing Mario.
Yeah. My thing is, whatever.
It's crazy.
In either way, it should be some form of Italian. Like, if you don't want to do that, then do the authentic. And I don't have it, like, in the end, it's fine. I don't like, this is a weird thing, and Chris Pratt just seems to not have a ton of feel.
Apparently they have something though. They're gonna be doing something. They have a good fix.
They better make fun of it a lot.
I don't know. We'll see. We're gonna find out. I have a feeling this has like a Sonic the Hedgehog type moment where it's like everyone sees the first Sonic with teeth and they freak out and they're like, all right, we're gonna clean this up and repackage it out for you.
Dude, how bad was that? That is like some next level shit. I mean, compared to what we got, how does that happen? I mean, we saw what we got after the fact, and that was immensely better.
That goes out to test groups and everything, focus groups beforehand, and a bunch of people got to sign off on it. So I don't know. That's nuts.
I don't understand it at all. We also got a couple trailers just to switch back to Disney because, of course, we can't get enough of these people. It's a whole Disney friggin' episode. Actually, before I jump to Disney, did you catch the new Peacemaker trailer?
No, I have not, but I'm okay with that, though. I'm okay if I haven't seen it because I'm in on the series. So I know I'm going to watch it. So I think maybe, I don't think I need anything more to kind of maybe spoil things for me if I can contradict myself once here.
That was our very first episode, right? Remember that? Yeah. An instant classic. You don't need to see it. It's not going to spoil anything for you, but it absolutely just shows, like, it's just more of the same, really setting the tone, making sure everybody knows, hey, this is coming. And I could not feel more confident about this series. And again, it's a character like nobody cares about, and they're just going to continue to, like, historically nobody cares about, and they're going to continue to pick on that. So I mean, the expectations for this, I think it's absolutely warranted, are sky high for this, and they should be.
Yeah, I'm here for it. Again, I'm going to give, I feel like I've taken a lot of cheap shots at John Cena with his, China hostage video over the last couple of months and stuff. So, but I'm going to give him his due. I think he's a pretty good actor. I like him.
I got to say, I like the approach he's taking more so than, I don't dislike what The Rock's done, but I like more what John Cena's been doing, really picking on himself.
He's funnier.
Yeah, he absolutely is funnier for sure. So I'm here for it. I never thought I'd say that, but here we are.
Are you here for the book of Boba Fett?
So I'm glad you asked this. So I'm very excited for this series, but after seeing this trailer, as much as I expect the action to be good and everything like that, and I think we're going to get some really cool characters, maybe some more bounty hunters mixed in this. Should get all the bounty hunters mixed in on this. I just can't help but wonder, as we were getting ready for the show, what does this mean when it comes to, when he says, I'm going to rule through respect, unlike Jabba, who ruled through fear? Like, Boba Fett was a feared individual. That was the whole thing with Han Solo. That was all Boba Fett was in the original Star Wars movies. Like, he was like this feared bounty hunter. Like, we got to watch out for him. Yet now it's like, I'm going to rule through respect. What does that mean? Like, I still feel all right after what they did for Boba Fett coming off of The Mandalorian. That was outstanding. I still feel all right going into this series, but it's just like, don't make him too much of a nice guy.
And isn't he kind of like a double cross type of guy? Like he's kind of out for himself, like never really on anyone's team.
He's never okay. He is out for every job that he has to do. So I wouldn't say he's a double cross guy, but you could be on the same team as him. But like in the end, like he's going to be honest with you about the situation, and then like we can team up. I was just reading some Boba Fett stuff recently, and he was like, "We're on the same team, but when it doesn't become convenient anymore, then we're going to have to address the matter." And then in that instant, he'll turn on you. So it's like. He has a code, but he will he will turn on you.
So he's truthful, about his untrustworthiness.
Yeah, kind of like an honor amongst
is that respectable?
I guess so, but I mean, I don't know.
You can't trust someone like that.
Yeah. So I just hope don't make him a good guy. Like make him
not a good guy.
Yeah, not a good guy. I'd rather him be a piece of shit if we're being honest.
Bad guy. Bad guy.
That's a bad guy. I honestly, anytime I see that, I always think of like someone like quoting that on Twitter. I still think of piece of shit first, and then it's like, oh, that's right. There's the credit card roulette shit. That nonsense. Oh, that is possibly the most cringeworthy part of the second season.
That's up there. That
was brutal. But anyways, speaking of which, speaking of Boba Fett, though, the last time I read his stuff was, of course, during that whole event that Star Wars had, which brings us to the comic book minute before we get to our main topic.
Love it.
And speaking of events, Avengers 50 is out this week. The review's already up on Geeks Worldwide. This is actually the 750th issue of the Avengers period, but the 50th of this current run. Jason Aaron is writing. He's been doing an outstanding job. And this issue, for someone who's very infrequently been keeping tabs on the Avengers comics, just because we don't get the review copies until recently, and just there's a lot of stuff to read. I really loved what I got here. In terms of multiverse stuff, it's pretty bananas. Thought it was a very solid issue, really good table setter and everything for what's to come, and some new characters are thrown in the mix. Definitely got vibes of Dark Knight's Death Metal and Scott Snyder when he finished his run over at DC. Which that's going to happen. We're going to see copycat stuff, but I think it's still going to be good. So I have pretty high expectations for what's coming from the Avengers. As for DC, a lot of annuals this week. The number one that I read was Nightwing 2021 annual, which the review will be up for that on Geeks Worldwide when the audio drops. There's also Detective Comics, Batman, Justice League Dark, which I'll definitely be giving that a look. And then Spawn 324 is also out this week. We'll be talking about all of this at greater length on TLDR this week when we do our December solicit, and we will have an update on the next Spawn spinoff that's coming from Image Comics, the Scorched issue 1. So make sure you guys tune in. If you are interested in all that new Spawn stuff, you're going to want to hear the update that we have, but I'm going to have to save that for TLDR, which of course drops on Wednesdays, and we record that live on Tuesdays, the same day that Change My Mind's audio drops.
Oh, okay. I love that. Good stuff here. So keep your peepers popped for that this week. And what do you say, Nick? Let's get this over with, huh?
Yeah, in some way, like I hate that we did it in like the time that we had to commit to it, but I think it's going to be worth it in the end because you and I are going to have some fun with this because we are talking today, Wes, about Home Sweet Home Alone. We're doing an exit survey, and this is not the first Home Alone content that we've done on this show, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's not. Of course, if you go back into our archives here, episode 94, our original versus sequel debate between Home Alone and Home Alone 2 Lost in New York City. So that was, I believe, Jason Rossi's favorite episode. It's one of his favorites. So.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we've done a few. We haven't done as many original versus sequels, but there are definitely... Well, we're just trying to do stuff that's in the here and now, but we have a lot of good stuff there, and that was definitely one of our better ones. That one and the Spider-Man one. It's probably the best.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, those are two of our better original versus sequels. But the synopsis here, unfortunately, we're not talking about the original content or even the sequel of that. We're talking about the 6th installment of Home Sweet Home Alone. Home Sweet Home Alone. See, I can't even get the title. Like it's two bad names put together. So the synopsis is: a married couple tries to steal back a valuable heirloom from a troublesome kid.
Okay.
Is he a troublesome kid or is he a troubled kid?
I wouldn't even say he's that. It's a bunch of
he's a porky little kid, I'll tell you that much.
Sheer poppycock. Which feels like something this kid would actually say in this movie.
I feel that's right. Yeah.
The cast and crew, this was directed by Dan Mazar, which apparently this is going to be the last movie that he's ever directed. Written by Mikey Day, which Mikey Day. We're not making
Mikey
like
Day.
that's how Wes found it. So that should say everything.
Well, you don't recognize Mikey. He's a Saturday Night Live guy. He's been on Wildin' Out for years.
That explains a lot. He's been doing SNL, and I know Mac and Goo love what they've been doing SNL over the past like decade.
He's tough. Yeah, Mikey Day is a tough hire because you go from like I seen him on Wildin' Out, and he's tough. He was a tough watch there, and then just see that's like all right. Well, SNL finally takes him. Ugh, I don't know.
Yeah,
not for me.
So and then let's see, we got Streeter Seidel was also a writer on this, starring Ellie Kemper as Pam McKenzie, Rob Delaney as Jeff McKenzie. Oh my God, that was the guy from Deadpool. I knew I'd recognize him from something. Archie Yates as Max Mercer, Essling B as Carol Mercer. You want to correct me on that one?
Aisling?
That's probably it.
Aisling, yeah.
Kenan Thompson, everybody knows him as Gavin Washington. Timothy Summers as Hunter. Ali Mackey as May. Pete Holmes as Uncle Blake. That's like the easiest name here, and I botched that one.
This whole thing you're just stumbling through. I love it.
This is like the easiest cast of names. Like Aisling B is the toughest one. That's it. Chris Parnell as Uncle Stu, and Devin Rattray as Buzz McAllister.
Rattray.
I don't.
Rattray. It's all where you put the emphasis on the syllable. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you finished with a bang there. I love it, and the critics' reception is a 3.5 out of 10 on IMDb with an 18-13 split on Rotten Tomatoes. Yes, you heard that correct. 18-13 split, and a 1.7 out of 5 on Google reviews with surprisingly 42% of Google users liking this movie. I guess 42%. The average age must be 8 years old for Google users. Am I right?
I guess Nick? So. Yes. Well, speaking of 8, Wes, what is your tweet length review and score for this movie?
Well, yeah, it's just like Kobe Bryant's old number, 1 over Kobe. I'm going 8 plus 1. That's a 9 out of 100 if I can do my math correctly. And in my tweet length review, it's horrible. I would never recommend this. No reason for this movie to happen. It feels like a kid's movie that's not made for kids because of all the references and callbacks to the original Home Alone movies. And it feels like the kid isn't the main character. It feels like the parent villains are the main characters of this. And I don't really know who I'm rooting for in all of it. So I don't get it.
Well, this is a landmark occasion for the Change My Mind podcast because I'm pretty sure this is the first time we have the same exact score on a movie.
This low, it would be tough. Yeah.
Yeah. We're usually pretty much in lockstep, but this was bad. Look, it's not good. I mean, plain and simple. Wes hit on all of it, and we're going to dive into it a little bit more. But I do think kids would probably like this. I do. I'm not saying if I had kids, I would have them watch it.
I don't know kids enough.
The pranks are like, there are some halfway decent pranks, but some of them are like, I just wouldn't want I'd hate being that parent. Like it's funny. I'd have no problem if I had a kid showing them Mortal Kombat just because it's so outrageous. But this, it's like some of the shit that happens in this, like, what the fuck is the matter with you?
And again, where like, I'll save this take here because I'll say that for the second question. Let's just hop right into it.
Yes.
Here. Right off the bat, Nick, I think we know where we stand on this movie here, but rank the Home Alone movies that we have seen to date.
So of the 4 that I've seen, believe it or not, this is not the worst one. I go 2. I go 1. And those are fairly interchangeable. I know that's kind of a hot take in the DSG and probably, but still, I love both. Then there is a million miles of fucking shit. Then there's this one, and then there's even another million miles of shit, and then there's the third one. I have not seen any of the others, but
so the new kid, I forget what was that kid's name? He was kind of a cute kid.
I don't know. I'll look it up in a second.
He had a bowl cut.
He did have a bowl cut. I remember that bowl cut, like black hair or dark brown, and I remember. So I saw this. It's funny. Like I remember as a kid liking most movies, right? I know I walked out of Babe as a child.
Unbelievable. Oscar nominated Babe.
I know it just wasn't for me. Even though I was the target audience. But there was just like, but I don't have a lot of, I think Suicide Squad was like the first movie as like an adult where I was like, the fuck is this? Like I was expecting so much better and I was so disappointed. This was awful though. Like this was probably like after Babe, this was probably the next movie where I was like, this Home Alone 3, this is absolute trash. So
well, that came out in 97. So what, you were how old?
I was 6.
Oh, okay. All right. So this was probably when like that movie, you should like that movie.
Yeah, and actually my babysitter showed this to me. To my parents' credit, my dad did not. My dad is responsible for showing me movies. He did not show me this.
Good man.
Was Scarlett Johansson in Home Alone 3? Am I seeing this right? And Alex D. Linz was the kid? What the hell? Okay, I gotta look.
Scarlett Johansson was. Oh well, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that now, just for research purposes.
All right,
but to rank the Home Alone movies, there's only 2 that I recognize. Everything else, I just refuse to acknowledge. So it's 1 and 2, and that's how it goes. It's very cut and dry, very simple with me. And then I'm not even putting this in the same conversation. It's not even worth being in the same conversation of a sequel that was, in some cases, according to Nick, better than the original. So, it's not even worth putting up against the sequel or the original.
Yeah, it's a joke. Now I'm looking it up right here, and it looks like Scarlett Johansson was a kid when that came out, which I guess would make sense because she's not that old. But
97. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, she's not that much older than me. Yeah,
based on the pictures I'm seeing, that so that adds up. But yeah, no, it's 1 and 2. Look, I understand most people like 1 more. I don't know. I think maybe it's the pranks. I don't know what it is. But either way, like when I say I like 2
there's
more,
no heart. There's no heart in any of these. There's heart in the first 2 ones.
Yeah, and it's just like with the second one, it's you change the setting, you change up the pranks, and you make a couple other minor adjustments, and it's fine. Like you can accept it, but these, like, I know we're gonna get into it more. Well, like the biggest problem with this one, the villains. This is like.
Well, and we got to put it in quotations because I don't know who we're supposed to be rooting for. We're introduced to them right off the bat. I think we're introduced to them before we're introduced to the Mercer family, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
But either way, we're introduced to them, and they're given to an emotional feel. You're automatically attached. You're supposed to identify with them. They're losing their house. They're in a bit of a family strife. You can tell some things are kind of going on, and it's like. Why? Like these are supposed to be the bad guys.
Yeah, and
why am I feeling like? Why do I want them to go rob this kid?
Look, I understand the idea that like you don't want to just have villains be villains for the sake of being villains anymore. Like you want to give them a backstory. I get that, but there are times you can make exceptions for that. And when you're talking about a movie that's mainly going to be based on hijinks, I'd rather see downright villains in this. Like it's the same thing as. Well, I guess it's a different thing, but like when they made that Cruella movie, like I'm sure it was a fine movie or whatever, but the idea of making Cruella DeVille and giving her a backstory, I don't understand why you want to do something like that. So
at least from that perspective, that's the main character. So at least like you're going to be telling their story from their perspective. Fair. But this is like.
This is worse.
This is not the main character, right? Max Mercer's the main character here, right? That's supposed to be his, the kid, right? He's the new Macaulay Culkin, but yet we open up with them. We spend a lot of time with them. We get to meet their kids, their brother and in-laws, right? And like the nieces and nephews there.
Yeah.
So again, you get these kind of moments where they're both trying to emulate the craziness that goes on within the household family before a big trip. It kind of gets that wild holidays of the extended family coming in, and neither one kind of hits that. But what you were hitting, Mom, before about like being the villains, like what was great about Marv and Harry were that they're one identified solely as villains, right? They were crooks. So there was no mistaking about what they were. It was very well defined.
Absolutely.
And they were caricatures of crooks. So an even further extension to take you away from a suspension of disbelief, right? That's about to happen with all these like crazy Rube Goldberg traps and everything like that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And then in here, you get like real people that are going through real struggles. Although, look, Wes and I are journalists by trade. Everybody knows this. However, we're like, you look at what the husband's going through in this, and he's a tech guy, but he can't get a job. And I understand
in this economy, everybody can get a job. No,
yeah. There's that, but then there's also the fact that like you're a tech guy, you should be able to roll into something else. I understand you like have a thing you want to do, but 3 years without a job, and there's a whole nother issue with that I will get into later on. But like,
is that how long it was? 3 years? Like, start a freaking app, dude.
3 years. What are you doing? There's no way that should happen as a tech person. For what you're saying and what I'm saying, roll into something else. That's what we've done. Like we roll into different things.
Get some crypto, man. Like do something, man. You sounds like you're real smart.
I'm waiting for the day that we have a crypto episode, which I won't be able to be involved in because
I think we missed that train. I think all that hype is,
it'll come back. It's like anything else. It'll come back. You and Matt can do an episode on that. Maybe you guys can do a news dump solely on crypto. Maybe that's the next. Maybe that's the next DSG show. Or just.
I can't add another one to my plate, Nick. I can't do it.
Okay, I'm asking for too much. I apologize. But yeah, these villains.
But I hated the villains though, because I just don't get it. And again, like what I did find kind of funny, we'll get into this about and some of the pranks and stuff. Like Ellie Kemper was doing her best Marv impression, but again, like Ellie Kemper is a sweet like actress who is kind of funny and quirky, but not like the physical, tangible like caricature like funny of what's his name that ends up being like Harry,
yeah, Marvin Harry. You know what? I think
I'm forgetting Daniel Stern. Yeah, that's
Daniel Stern.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I feel like she had some moments in this, but it was just so bad, like across the board, that I just didn't really care about like the moments she had. I feel like her husband didn't have a whole lot of moments. He stunk out loud, and I feel bad because what's his name in freaking Deadpool? I can't remember, but he was funny as a big character, but. I think we saw with the husband. And
he's the guy with no powers who comes in with the mustache, right? Yeah,
yes, that is him. But I think we saw with him,
Roy,
and then I can't remember. But him and the kid in this movie, like you're better off served. You can't take on like a leading role in any capacity. It's just.
Yeah, it didn't work for. I mean, I love Ellie Kemper as Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt again, kind of that like quirky, cute kind of innocent type of role there, but it didn't really work for me here.
Tough loss for her.
Also moving on, what do we think of the kid? Obviously huge shoes to fill with Macaulay Culkin, who makes up so much of the heart of this movie, right? I think that's really what is probably the most defining difference of what worked with the first two movies and what didn't work here. Maybe you could say John Hughes and the magic that he has and adding to that, but certainly the on-camera magic of Macaulay Culkin, that's not there. He has that lovability, and I don't know, that's sort of like that it factor.
For those wondering, just a quick turn back here. Rob Delaney's character's name in Deadpool 2 was Peter. But
Roy or Ray, I was there. I was right there.
You were close. I wasn't anywhere near it either. So, anyways, when it comes to this kid, like. He's just whatever. Like, and I didn't think he was particularly great, but I mean, I just don't think he was up for this. Like, he could take on this role. And I think when you go and lean, and I don't know, when you lean on the family, the parent, the husband and wife so much, I think it's kind of telling, like, the kid was set up for failure, or they didn't have ultimate confidence in him in the end to carry this. And he couldn't, because when you look back at what we got with Marvin Harry, yeah, we got more of him in the second movie, but Macaulay Culkin kind of set the tone in the first movie, where it was like, okay, like we want a little bit more Marvin Harry in the second one, but if you're going to do this again, we kind of need to be invested in the kid, and it was just hard to do that. So, meh is bad. Like that's worse than just being bad, because then if it was so bad that it's funny, then it could have worked.
I'm going to go out and say you can't be a snarky, cute kid if you're fat. I'm sorry, it doesn't work for me. You got to be like if you're a pudgy little like snot, like that's what I think. Those are the words that I think of if you're going to be snooty and like sarcastic like that, like this kid wasn't here, like snooty, snot-nosed, pudgy little kid. But when Macaulay Culkin has like those like snippy, snarky like jabs back at the family members or to anyone, those kind of smart aleck remarks, it comes across as just that smart alecky, kind of cute, like, oh, and you kind of pass it off. But if I saw like some pudgy little kid with glasses, especially with a British accent, this does it for me, like of all ages, when like people from outside the country, are just kind of like snooty and like, it doesn't do it for it's like the John Oliver types when I see these shows, or like daily shows. Like, you come from outside the country and you just shit on the country the whole time. Like, this would never fly. Like, I would never go to South Africa and be like, well, you guys got all this stuff wrong here. You did apartheid, and I'm like, it just like, I don't think that would be very well accepted.
Yeah, I
know about my culture. You know what I mean? So that's a little bit of an offshoot of a tangent, but ipso facto, like this, like I'm just not a big fan of like snarky foreigners.
You have made that abundantly clear.
Yeah.
And that definitely bothers me less so. I just don't think that I think this kid's better. Like what they tried to do with him was better served in a bit role, because I think you kind of hit on a little bit with what Macaulay Culkin did. When you hear him talk and everything, like, I don't know, his delivery seems, when he was a kid, it just seems like more childlike, I guess. Like he's not, obviously he seems like a fairly smart kid with what he does against Marvin Harry, but they're also a little bit buffoons. Like he makes mistakes along the way. This kid feels like he's a brainiac. And I'm not not that this kid can't be a brainiac, but it's just kind of hard to buy into that with what they're doing with this movie. And
it's tough because I think back to it, because I think Macaulay Culkin was kind of like a know-it-all, very smart kid. You know, he's doing the shopping on his own. He's figuring things out. He's talking to adults, like an adult, I should say. You know,
but he has the toothbrush bit though.
Yeah. But again, he's also paying for it, like at the register, and like the register is questioning him and all this stuff. And she's like, "My mom's in the car. I can't tell you where you live because you're a stranger." And it's like, you know, like he has like adult kind of like this adult answers for a 7-year-old kid. But like, I'm going to jump ahead to this one part where you talk about the most cringeworthy scene.
Oh yeah.
Where the father is talking with Max there at the open house, like in the first 10 minutes of the movie. And they're talking about the dolls, and like everything he says there, it's like, why are you such a jerk?
Yeah.
You don't really get it yet. Like, I understand that Macaulay Culkin and Kevin is pissed in the first Home Alone because no one's paying him attention. He can't get what he wants. He's getting squeezed out of his own family. But in the house, you know, like, I don't know, why is he a jerk to this guy?
Yeah, and you know, this is not part of you just reminded me of something. This is not part of our exit survey, but this whole thing, for those who don't know, is predicated. The way this all happens is this kid, the kid that Wes and I have been talking about, the main kid, I'm blanking on his name.
Yeah.
Max, thank you. Him and his mom go to this open house, and then a doll disappears from that house that's apparently worth like $200,000, and that's why this family needs to go and steal it back because they need money and blah blah blah, all this stuff. When we find out in the end that it was the family,
the nephew, right?
It was their nephew.
Yeah.
When we saw this thing get stolen, because we saw it happen like right after. Like,
I was going to say they show it, like they showed the box missing, right? Like the doll was missing the box. Yeah.
The kid, the nephew is not there when it happens. So it's like this gigantic plot hole. And I understand, like, hey, you're not like, this is a gimmicky movie and all this stuff, and it's just, you're just trying to have fun. Like, I get that, and I can allow for plot holes sometimes. I can let things go. That's absolutely absurd, though. It's like the most important part of it. It's like, wait, this is just sheer laziness. What is this shit?
Yeah, and again, I know like there wouldn't be a movie and then there wouldn't be a sake for it, but again, like, let's operate under the assumption that they still think that this kid Max has the doll, which is supposed to be like, you know, going for resale at like $300,000 or something like that, right? Which would solve all their problems and everything, right? So it kind of fixes everything. It's a good checkoff's done,
right?
But they spot the kid at the church, right? And they think, oh, instead of going up to him and be like, hey, you know, did you take our doll? Like, you know, what's going on? Kind of explaining the situation like adults, because you are adults and that's the child, right? Yeah. You're like, no. Now's the time when they're not here. We can go and sneak into the house and steal it away from them. And I'm like, no, what are we doing? Like, and it's like Ellie Kemper is like promoting all of this. You know, it's not Jeff. It's at this time. You know, she takes the idea that was planted by Jeff and she's like really runs with it.
I think so. I think Jeff McKenzie, though, as much as I understand your critiques of Ellie Kemper in this, I think that Rob Delaney's character, Jeff McKenzie, is the biggest weak point when you look at this movie. I mean, I like
there's a lot of weak points here.
That's for friggin' sure. But you do raise a good point. Like, why wouldn't you just talk to him? But like, this is a stupid movie where I can understand that stuff. In the end, like Wesley, we see the doll gone, and then we see it gone right after the open house.
Ruins everything.
It doesn't make when we saw that the kid had it, the nephew had it. I was like, wait a second, huh? How did that right away? I'm like, how did that happen? If it is that obvious to me as I'm watching this movie and just trying to enjoy it, not even pick it apart, that's terrible. Like, that's just that is awful writing. Like I understand kids won't care about it, but that's just inexcusable. I don't know how that happens.
Yeah, it's tough there. That's so yeah, we're out of the kid. I think we're in agreement on that one.
Yes.
Anything rewatchable from this movie at all?
Okay, so I thought the VR prank was actually pretty funny. Though there, of course, there was a flaw with that too, because I'm pretty sure with VR stuff, you're not gonna see the clothes that you're actually wearing. But
right,
still,
and you have goggles on, like you can feel like the sweaty goggles on your face.
But he got knocked. Yeah, right. But he got knocked out, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He's a little off, whatever. But like, you're not going to see the clothes. Either way, it was kind of funny. It was a good idea. Execution maybe so. Like in terms of like, there were some mistakes, but it was kind of funny. But for me, the biggest thing was the Bud stuff. Him and Gillen, and then him taking the call from the dispatch. About a kid being home alone. So I like the Buzz stuff was good. It was quality, but outside of that, it's just like.
Yeah, the Buzz stuff was nice, and again, that feels like that was what was most for us. They're watching. They're watching. What is it? The movie, Filthy Scoundrels or something. Filthy Souls, Filthy Angels or something like that.
Yeah, like in space or something.
But it's in space. Yeah, and they're like, reboots, huh? Like that's a great cringeworthy moment to our next category there.
Yeah.
But I have a quick question on the Buzz stuff because I was a big fan of that. And you mentioned the relationship that was kind of going on between Pam and him, and she was trying to kind of hit on him and saying that the husband forgot the anniversary and trying to like flirt with the cop to get the cop away, right?
Right.
But look at the child that Jeff and Pam have. So Pam, a redhead, Jeff, dark brown hair, like much like yours, sir. Produce a child with a recessive gene of blonde hair. So my question to you, my unanswerable question is, did Pam have an affair with Buzz and was letting this kind of go off, and there was some sort of financial scheme that they were going to be running amok later with? Because Buzz, light hair, right? Dark or light brown, maybe blonde hair,
I'll tell you what, Wes, I wouldn't blame Pam if that was the case, because Jeff McKenzie, total loser in this movie.
You can't get a job for 3 years, man. What are you doing?
Yeah.
3 years.
3 friggin' years. I'm sorry. At that point, if you can't get like a job in your field,
trip into a job at that point.
If you can't get a job for your field, then I'm sorry. You got to take a job that you really friggin' hate because you need money. And that's something I don't want to jump ahead.
Kids, man.
Well, there's something regarding that for what will age the worst, but I don't want to jump ahead on categories. But like that's. So I don't want to jump on ahead. Let's go back to the cringeworthy scenes. I know we mentioned the open house scene and the doll conversation, and then with Max's mom, Mrs. Mercer, and everything, and then Rob Delaney's character. That was brutal. That was awful.
It was so bad because it was set up exclusively for exposition. It was like, hey, what are you doing here? I'm selling my house. Let me introduce my full names and what this German doll is here, and explains all of it. We talk about this all the time, and with particularly with the MCU movies, right? The ability to show and not tell. Right. That was all telling for the sake of Jeff to be able to go back to what was their names again? How can I remember that? Those kids took that, and it's like, now I got it. Bam, I'll figure it out.
The second we heard their full names, it was like, okay, we know what this is for. Without any other context. Like, I had barely seen a trailer for this thing. I just knew who the kid was. I thought it was the wrong actress the whole time. I was thinking this was Karen Gillan, which I want to apologize to her because I'm like thinking the whole way through.
I thought you thought that was the mom at first, who I was like, I can maybe see that.
No, I screwed up on what's her face?
Ellie Kemper.
Yeah, Ellie Kemper. It's just redheads. I guess I don't know. Just
am I right?
Yeah. Oh man, this was definitely below the equator. I'll tell you that.
Yes, thank you, Jason Momoa.
But the home prep montage I felt like was a slap in the face because it just didn't look good, and B, they're playing the music from Kevin's home prep montage. I get this is Home Alone, but this is just this is so bad. You don't deserve it. You don't deserve to have that. The soda prank thing was absolutely ridiculous. I understand Kevin pulled a lot of pranks, Wes, but this is like some next level ridiculousness.
You mean with the Mentos and the soda, and then throwing them down to Ellie? Yeah.
Yes, the fact that it was as effective as it was, like that kid's definitely like he's shooting his eye out if he's doing that shit for sure.
Yeah. And I think it almost happens like immediately when you put them in there, right? Like the overflow.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I've never done it.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've done that. Yeah.
There's enough videos on YouTube to know how that shit works. But screw every Lego prank, excuse me.
Yeah.
I have no time for that. I know Doc's a big Lego fan. I think Mac is as well.
I love Legos. Who doesn't love Legos?
I'm not a big Lego fan. Like kids.
Were you a Playmobil guy?
I just didn't like building shit. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I don't know.
Okay.
I guess that you want to credit me to be being bougie like you guys like to say I am. I don't know, but anyways, the Nerf machine gun prank with a thumbtacks. Now, this is coming from somebody who was just fired upon frequently by one of these Nerf machine guns over Thanksgiving. Holy hell, those things look like straight out of Call of Duty.
Oh my god, yeah, that's top notch now.
But seeing the thumbtacks, I get first I'm like, how are they sticking to her? And then I see her pull one out. It's like, oh dear lord.
It's the same one with Jeff too that I hate. It's kind of like a similar kind of cringe vibe as when he goes to put in the code on the keypad and the number 2 had it and he sticks it right into the finger and it goes. You can tell it goes like all the way into the fingertip.
Yeah, it's just like even with Marv when he got it in the foot years like when we were kids, I still hated that prank.
Yeah, that's the ultimate though. The foot, no, thank you.
Oh, never, no, yeah, absolutely. And I can't help but think as we're going through this, Wes and I talk a lot about like kid related stuff with what we do on our show, and part of me is thinking, are we really showing our age? But I just feel like some of these, well, that's too bad. I feel like some of this stuff is just.
You said you hung around some kids with some Nerf guns. I hung around some kids. One a freshman in high school, and another an 8-year-old. And the freshman in high school immediately put me in place with how uncool I am.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And I thought I was hip. I thought I was hip with it.
Jeez. Well, the kids like me. So, I mean,
the kids like me too, but they like to make fun of me too. I think that's what it is.
I fit in with 7 and 5-year-olds. So, I mean, like I got that going for me, which, is nice. But after the Nerf gun prank, Wes, we get from Max, we get the following quote. Given up yet, or are you thirsty for more? You ever heard that shit before?
Yeah. And again, who is that for? Is that for us, or is that for the kids who haven't seen the original Home Alone movie? You know what I mean?
Brutal.
Yeah, that is very tough.
The last one I have, and before we head in this, is the kid being reunited with his mom. That leads to "Home is where the heart is," "Sweet Home Alabama," and like some allusion to the epic poet Homer. Who is that for? Nobody.
Yeah, and again, it wasn't that big of like there wasn't a big argument, Like she was just ignoring him, on the phone, and he's like, "No, I'm gonna go sleep in the car for the night," right? And like, it wasn't this big thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
No, you're right. So before we get to the last few categories, I think an important thing that we need to talk about in this too is obviously it's a 9 out of 100, right? We both are in agreement on this. Mm-hmm. This is not so bad that it's funny. Wes and I are laughing now and having a good time, but
no, it's not worth it. It's insulting is what it is.
None of it's funny as you watch it. There's a few moments, I guess, and most of it's with actually, speaking of that, let's get to what will age the best. And we're in agreement on this.
I think the top one is Buzz McAllister being a cop. I think if anybody, and not just with his appearance, but I think if you were to look at that cast from the original first two and what would they go on to be, Buzz McAllister would definitely be your local hometown cop.
100%. I think Buzz in general was the only redeemable quality about this. I do think Pam had some maybe one or two funny things, but it's just it was so bad that I can't appreciate it. Buzz is the only thing that was a real hit.
Yeah, and I will say, though they weren't funny, this is a pretty funny cast.
Yeah, it is.
No one's really funny in it, but I mean, you have Rob Delaney, who I like. I like Ellie Kemper. Yep. I like Kenan Thompson. I like Timothy Simons. He's great from what is it, Veep, and he's also in another the interview with James Franco and And Seth Rogen, he's pretty funny in that. One ring to rule them all. He's a really funny guy. Who else is it? Pete Holmes is a funny comedian. Chris Parnell, obviously. Andy Daly's in that. It's a funny actors who do nothing with this.
I will say, I feel like Pete Holmes was pretty on brand. I guess he was fine. Like if you're talking
honking the horn, telling everyone that we got to get out of here. Like that's kind of funny.
Yeah, he was all right. Like I'll give him that. And then Buzz McAllister. Other than that, I think Kenan Thompson was more the subject of bad writing than bad delivery. I mean, like when he goes and does like hey, I'm gonna here, let me give you some of my business cards. Like that's absolutely what a realtor would do in that situation. I thought that was good. But other than that,
it's a paycheck for these guys. I gotta imagine.
For him, for sure. For the others, for Ellie Kemper, have we seen her in a lead role like this before?
Yeah. She's done her own show, the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Oh, you said that before. I never watched that, but okay.
5 seasons of it.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yes, I have. I actually have heard of that. Never watched it, but we will get to her a little bit more in one of the other categories. But we're in agreement on Buzz McAllister being a cop. As for what will age the worst, I think we're in agreement. Everything will age the worst.
Yeah. There's nothing really to mention. Although your note here about owning a home on one teacher's salary is interesting.
This is set in like Winnetka, which is right where the McAllister stuff is, which of course is why Buzz is there and everything.
So that Chicagoland, all that stuff.
I dated in college somebody who lived in Glencoe, which is right near Winnetka. One of my New Trier High School because you've done stuff for coaching AD on that. And that's in Wilmette, and I think Winnetka kids go there too. Very, very well off area, and this is like just north of Evanston, which is just north of Chicago, which is where I spent like 4 years in college. They are the most bougie people ever. There is not a shot in hell you are owning a home for 3 years, like making do on all these mortgage payments and everything in Winnetka, Illinois, solely on one teacher's salary. This is bullshit. I understand it's a plot hole that a lot of people aren't going to notice, but that is I'm hearing this like, no fucking way.
No, it's crazy because it's the same thing with like the idea of the Seinfeld cast members or the Friends cast members living in rent-controlled apartments despite not having any jobs or anything in the Upper West Side and East Side. Like I'm all here for this sort of thing. Going off of what you just said too, the idea of $250,000 solving all of their problems, not only in 2020, but like let alone in a bougie of a town, high price swanky of a town that you live in. Like, how far is that actually going to go?
Yeah, no way. Absolutely.
Like you're ready to go to Gen Pop, right? That was one little funny line when he's like, I can't handle Gen Pop. And she's like, what is Gen Pop?
Yeah. And you know what the other thing too is just because it's $200,000 on eBay doesn't mean it's going to sell for $200,000.
Yeah, you still got to do all the work. You got to go authenticating it. Like I have a couple old school cards, Randy Johnson rookie cards, Larry Bird cards, like that are, look online for $1,000. In one case, $10,000. Like I have a Mark Jackson card with the Menendez brothers in the background. So there's like, apparently that if I can get it certified by, I don't know, one of those companies, like, can retail for $10K.
So I don't think I told you, this is totally off the side, but who cares? This movie sucks. So my dad had a Wayne Gretzky rookie card, apparently had it at a 5 grading, which is not good. Out of 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
It was like, I think it got valued at like just under $2,000. If it was a 9, Wes, it would have been like $200,000.
Yeah. Unreal, right?
It's crazy. And I mean, I know the market like been crazy for sports cars, but I don't think that would have changed too much. A few years before the pandemic, because it's Wayne Gretzky, so it's a little different. But it's just nuts the amount of money people pay for cards. But yeah, this whole thing is like you said, the fact that $200,000, assuming that's what they got for this stupid doll.
I think they did. I think that it was 250,000. Like that was the number they're talking about the whole time.
250. Okay, all right. Well, if it was that, because I mean, who knows? Maybe somebody outbids it or whatever. It's a load of shit. That it's you're gonna resolve everything, and then you're gonna go on a vacation to wherever the fuck that they said.
Right? Yeah. No.
So no, I don't know if that's going to age poorly, but it's just stupid. I think that's like when we're talking about, I don't know, it's like everything's going to age poorly. This movie's just, nobody's going to care about this. It's always going to shit on it. But the lazy miscommunication and the plot hole that we were talking about before, it's just, there's just so much bad with this.
It's gonna be the worst here. How about we try to find make some lemonade out of some lemon here? What was the best performance by a side character?
1,000% Buzz. I think it's the only answer.
I might say the German doll. The upside down head. I don't know. It's pretty interesting.
How ridiculous! Like another thing getting lost in this is when that kid throws the doll at the end, and then you see Rob Delaney like jumping for it, and he eats shit, and then Karen Gillan eats shit, and then the little kid out of nowhere. Yeah. What did I say?
You said Karen Gillan.
Oh my God! Well, that shows I've had a little bit too much to drink this episode.
Oh yeah, she's on your mind.
Yes, apparently. She was disappointing last movie I saw her in too. It was Gunpowder Milkshake. That was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was there was another one that came out. I'm getting sidetracked. Sorry. But then to see Max go and make that diving catch out of nowhere. Come on. Really?
Yeah.
Come on.
We know the Pudgy Kid's not making that much of a leap, much of an effort.
Yeah, and then Rob Delaney's
maybe it was a bag of chips.
Like Rob Delaney's brother saying that his son like saved the day or whatever. I will say if Rob Delaney had gone and like punched his brother in the face, I would have been really happy with that. Like that would have.
Actor has a really punchable face.
He absolutely does. That would have put this up to like maybe a 15 out of 100 for me if he had punched him in the face.
But he's so tall, though. I think that's so that's what he has like working against him. That he's like a physically kind of imposing guy. But if he was more of a shrimp or your average height, like I think he's like 6'6". So kind of like unusually tall almost.
I think if for anybody,
that's a good question. What is unusually tall? I think it's anything above 6'6".
I think anything above 6'4", honestly.
Yeah.
Because like 6'4", it's like you get it. Like it's okay. You're tall, but when you get to 6'5",
I think you're right. Yeah. 6'4" is a good mark. Yeah.
Yeah. When you get to 6'5", it's like shit. Like this guy's a freak. Like I just met somebody that, like fairly recently that was like 6'5". I didn't know he was like a giant, like my cousin's boyfriend, and then holy fuck, you're tall. So
where people, I feel like you can be 6'4" and people say, "Oh wow, you're tall," but not to the point where it's like a point of conversation every time.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Like, couldn't agree more. And
that's good. I'm glad we settled that.
We're resolving a lot of stuff in this episode. So
nothing about the movie, but everything else. Yeah,
I will say. So let me ask you this then, Wes. Like, when we look back on this, the Buzz stuff is the shit that we like. It's solid. I mean, it's getting the movie 9 points instead of 0.
Yeah, it's all Buzz on that one. His shoulders.
Do you think that it's worth it for people to go back and like fast forward just to find the Buzz stuff?
No, not even. I wouldn't even. No, it's not worth it. Don't give Mikey Day the love here.
No.
In fact, like I'm not even sure who wins out of this. I think we're the big loser. I think I like Ellie Kemper. I know that's what you put down for.
That's a great call. We're the losers.
It's just we watched it, man. Like we put up with it.
Yeah, but you're welcome to everybody else who's listening to this episode because I'm sure it was a great time. I know I had a great time talking about it. But yes, watch it.
I know you've been screwing up the two, but Ellie Kemper, not Karen Gillan, she was like a debutante ball champion or something like that, and then got into some hot water recently because these pageants that she was a part of were apparently very like old school Southern, if that makes sense.
Oh.
And I'm not sure if it still was, but it's like, like a debutante, like, like a Southern rich single woman. I think that's kind of what that means.
Oh, gotcha. I was not aware of this. I'm going to have to look into this a little more.
She got dragged. It was during like the height of the pandemic. She got dragged a little bit, but not too bad.
I missed that part of all this. But I think that, obviously we are, you're absolutely right. We are the big losers in this. But the people who actually were involved with this movie, I think the writers for this movie are huge losers in this. But I think for Ellie Kemper too, like if she wants to be like a leading actor, this is not a good look for you. I understand that she has a show and everything, but for movies like this is, I know it's a Disney movie, but shit, man, I
just hope it was worth the payday.
Yeah, I agree. Make some sound investments. Doggy Coin. Make sure you go follow Fleetwood J Mac or Wesley Sykes on Twitter because they're going to get you guys all set up on your crypto. Otherwise, you're fucked.
You've said that a couple of times. That's a good old man joke there. You're talking about dad jokes.
What the Doggy Coin?
That's like the classic like Bill Belichick. Like, I don't have snap face.
I don't understand. I saw those recent like the crypto shit. Like I know there was an I think you should leave one and all this stuff. I don't know what crypto is.
There's a Tiger King one, yeah.
Oh, yes, Tiger King. Did you finish that, by the way?
No, I haven't. No, I probably never will. we got chirped by my guy Snooze Bar.
I saw that. Yes. Yes, you did. Oh man.
That'll happen. Speaking of Twitter, before we move on to the Discharge Depot, Nick, you have some explaining to do.
What do you mean I have explaining to do?
Did you make another Twitter account with your goddamn clock?
Oh my god. Okay, there's nothing I can say that's going to convince Billy because Billy's an asshole and he's never going to believe anything I say. But that wasn't me. I know.
I think it might be Snooze Bar. I think he was talking about it. Someone was talking about it.
Okay, so I will say I thought about doing it, and then someone else did it. So I can't go. Like, I'm not going to go and do it too because like then it's just going to take. Like, you have two people out there. Let the other one go and have its fun or whatever. But like, I don't know, man. It was like it's. The thing is, like, it's funny. I'm cool with it, whatever. But like, I just bought a green screen, and I was planning on breaking that out fairly soon. So I have mixed feelings now about it.
Well, you know what I said. What I said to do is take a picture of your backdrop currently, and then upload that into your green screen, and then ease everybody into you having the green screen.
That could work. that could work. I don't think I want to know who. I know our pal Lucy Birds was all about it. I told her about it, but I don't think I want to know who's doing it. But yes, it's odd. I did not expect.
I think it's our guy Snooze Bar.
Maybe it is
because I thought he tweeted something at us, right?
Yes,
saying that he had a dream about Friar's clock.
Yes. He said,
clock.
Yeah, I mean,
make sure I enunciate that.
It could. I don't think it was Billy, but I wouldn't rule him out. Like he's.
You think it's Billy? Like whoever denied it, supplied it, sort of thing. I like.
Yeah,
this.
It could be that. Like it's. I'm just trying to figure out who in the DSG would want to do it. I mean, Goo was really quick to like retweet the first tweet, which by the way, they followed everybody in the DSG but me. Don't think I didn't fucking notice that. Like you're talking about my clock.
Oh
like,
wow, that's good.
I'm giving you the fucking content.
Maybe that's what they want us to think. Maybe that's what maybe what you want us to think to keep us off your trail.
that's exactly. Yes, that's exactly. Because I am that smart. That because I am that smart that I'm going to think of that.
Well, this is. I think you're trying to beta alpha me right now. I'm confused by your tactics, so I'm going to just get angry now. So let's move on.
Keep acting tough. All right. So the last thing was before we get to the Discharge Depot was who won this movie. We're in agreement. It's Buzz. That's it. No question.
I guess I'm not sure. No, we're not in agreement. I will sign off on your vote, but I will abstain from this because there's no winners from this.
Okay, that's fine.
John Hughes and Macaulay Culkin are turning over in their graves as we speak.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yes. Well, if you saw Macaulay Culkin recently,
he looks like a skeleton.
Actually, the last time we saw him, he looked better. Still doesn't look great.
But he's still he's scary.
That is for damn sure. All right, time to turn into the Discharge Depot.
Yes, all aboard. Rat.
So I know you had a good Thanksgiving, but anything else been going on since we last spoke?
Well, I did some Black Friday shopping, and you mentioned hitting off with some of the 7 and 5-year-olds, some of the nieces and nephews at your girlfriend's Thanksgiving family dinner. Same thing for my wife's family. So there's an awesome 7-year-old little kid. He's with the only really young kid in my wife's side of the family. His name's Colin, very sweet kid. But I know what it's like to be like the youngest in a group full of adults around the holidays. So I always kind of entertain him. And like, we'll talk to him. So he's like, sit next to me at dinner time, sit next to me at the dinner table. So, all right. So, and we start talking about Pokemon and like the 3 Pokemon that I know, like Charizard, Charmander, Chameleon, and saying like the names that I know. And he's like so excited that someone was able to kind of like get into his level, into his world a little bit,
Nice. That's awesome.
And he was so pumped. But so then like conversation goes around the table for a little bit and it goes to like adult things, Trump, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And
of course.
He looks back to me and he goes, can we talk more about Pokemon? And I look back, I'm like, Jesus, Colin, I'd love to. I'm tapped out though. So I'm going to need to like hit up Shime or something like that to get some talking points on Pokemon things here. So
I definitely know Pokemon, but I am not like, I'm more like the original stuff, a couple of things that came afterwards. So Shime's definitely the guy to go to for sure. Cause
I just threw out like, oh, you got to catch them all, right? And he's like, oh my God, that's like all it took.
Oh, that's adorable.
I'm like, is that how easy it is?
I'm glad to hear you're having a positive influence on the children because I certainly am not, as much as I'm having fun with them, because I've been doing the one of Lauren's like nieces and nephews is 3. and she plays with Play-Doh a lot. And I've done
it too.
I've done the fake, like, oh, I'm eating the Play-Doh, you'll turn your head and it looks like you're actually eating it. And I guess I do a pretty good job at it because she thinks I'm eating it. So every time she sees me, she's like, eat the Play-Doh. I'm like, okay. But then the last couple times she's actually eating the Play-Doh, like she's put it in her mouth, like, don't do that. And I'm like, oh my God, like these kids are actually listening to what I'm saying. Like I'm just reassessing everything about my life. Like as we're getting older.
You gotta be careful. They're like sponges, you know?
Yeah. Because like when I actually have kids, like shit, like I can't be a jackass like my dad was. So
or just like casually swear all the time. I see that like jackass, like that was good, like your dad was. That was good joke.
Yes, yeah. Can't casually swear either. But did you do any Black Friday shopping?
Yeah, I got a little Black Friday. I got I went to the paper store, got a couple of the ladies in my life done there. You know, I feel like you can do a lot of one-stop shopping at the paper store.
The paper store, sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know are you familiar with the paper store?
Not at all.
It's like a Hallmark offshoot, and it has nothing but no paper. I don't think there's a single sheet of paper in there. There's everything else.
Oh, didn't know this. Did you see that? I heard this over the holiday that apparently the dollar store is going to be charging like $1.25.
$1.25.
What is that? What do you?
Might as well just call it Five Below now.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's I think that would be a smart business decision on there. At least it's not false advertisement at that point, right?
Yes. What'd you think of House of Gucci though? You teased this earlier.
Yes. So I did see House of Gucci. Was talking about the Italian accents and everything, and I thought it was good. I did like it. If you need to have a happy ending though for a movie, you're not going to like it. I can guarantee you that because this is based on like reality. Lady Gaga, man, she is skyrocketing as a star. Of course, finally saw.
You just saw, yeah.
Finally saw her Star is Born. Then she gets this. She is a monster in this movie.
Well, I'll tell you what, the wife, who's a huge Gaga fan, was kind of dogging her accent a little bit. Says, and she is Italian, not the wife. Lady Gaga is, and she goes like Eastern European.
Yep. Lauren and I were looking. She was looking at some reviews.
Isn't like the character like also Italian?
She's Italian. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that is definitely it's not just like one thing. She fluctuates throughout the course of the movie.
But she's good though. Other than that,
she's a monster in this character. I mean, like knowing that this individual was actually convicted of like having her ex-husband assassinated or I don't know. I guess they weren't technically divorced at that time. I don't know, but it was vicious. Like she was a monster. And I thought Adam Driver was really good in the role too. No character you can really root for in all this.
Okay, all assholes. I like it. Kind of like Tiger King. Good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, Jared Leto didn't realize till after the fact that he was actually in this movie.
It's a real Colin Farrell situation, huh?
Yep. It's crazy what they're doing.
He's
with
a weirdo.
He is weird, but you know what? Like this is, I think. So there's a designer, like an American designer who's like involved with the revolution, and he's a popular designer, and I cannot remember for the life of me what his name is.
Tommy Hilfiger.
No, but
Ralph Lauren.
Nope, it's neither of those guys. But I should know who it is. But he, I guess, reacted to all this.
Sean John,
and he said that what was it? Al Pacino and Jared Leto's characters were like
Tom Ford.
Tom Ford. That's exactly who it was.
He was the director of Gucci.
Yeah, he came in and like revived Gucci. Like he helped Gucci. Gucci helped him. But like he said, those two that Leto and Pacino's interpretations were like caricatures, basically, of what those individuals were. I mean, when you look at what Jared Leto's character apparently was like, I can understand why you'd want to lean into it. But yeah, very very tragic movie. But I did enjoy it. I thought it was good. If you're into that kind of stuff, if you like I didn't see the Versace thing, but I kind of want to go back and watch that now too. It's funny how the timing of all that stuff.
Of course.
Also rewatched the first Harry Potter movie for the first time in a long ass time. Still amazing.
Really? See, I think that's probably the worst one.
I still think it's really good. Like just thinking about how it set the table for so much to come.
Well, and it's the holiday season. It's a holiday movie, so it's good timing on your part.
Absolutely. I wouldn't say that it's the best. Of course not. But like, there's a reason I never watched it. But I still liked it a lot.
Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We actually So we can't do an original versus sequel for that. But maybe we do like a battle of the sequels or something with Harry Potter down the line.
We can talk about that. I think that could be on the table here.
Yeah, because like 3 is amazing. That was my favorite book. I liked 5 a lot too, and obviously 7 and 8, the movies. Of course, this is all of 7 from the books. We got to do some Harry Potter stuff down the line.
We can think about that. I think this might be the time that we're able to do that. Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. All right, so Wes, it is now time for
This Week in Shared Universe.
So last I checked, #Dork will be taking shots at Davey over the Adam Cole episode.
Oh, and that is a viral meme sensation right now. I don't actually know what's going on with that, but it can't be good.
It has been nonstop, and Billy D may or may not be working on things behind the scenes regarding all this. So I'm very excited.
We know who won't be getting a Christmas card from the Davey household this year.
By the way, did you see that thing that the Mrs. Davey shared on Twitter? Like some guy was asking if she wants to see his junk, and she responded by saying, "Smells like fall's over already." So,
I guess that has to be in a way flattering if you're a lady. I don't know if you get those that often, especially if you're a married lady. Like I don't know. Like I'm sure it's like you don't want it, but if
definitely don't want it. That's
just to know that you still kind of got it, you know?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I like her response more than anything. The response was the good part, for sure. Mac and Goo, I know they news dumped, but like their schedule is very odd. I don't understand it these days.
I don't know. There's no regularity with the dumps anymore. There's no regularity with the show, so I don't know what's going on. We did have the return of the top the People for Communism podcast, which was the top speeches from Mussolini. Top 11.
Really? Mm-hmm. But you know what, Wes? I heard that there's a strike brewing over there. So I don't know if the Policia is getting on that, but sounds a little problematic on the People for Communism podcast.
Fascists.
It's a dangerous time over there. And then, of course, TLDR, we mentioned that we will be doing the December solicit over there this week, of course, recording live on Tuesdays at 1:30, dropping the audio on Wednesdays. Make sure if you're a Spawn fan and you're ready for the Scorch that you listen in, because we will have an important development regarding that. What about Hot Guys on Hawkeye?
Yes, we already have episodes 1 and 2 live and available on our stream right now. And we'll be having breaking down episode 3 Wednesday mid-morning, I would say.
I'll tell you what,
that goes live.
I went and retweeted one of the stuff from like the Change My Mind account when it was broadcasting live. And then I saw it stop, and then I saw another one later. I'm like, wait, did they have like issues with the and I saw it on Facebook too. I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
Went back to back.
Yep. Yes. Very impressive. Look at that.
Back to back, baby.
Endurance.
Like Lethal Weapon.
I've heard it both ways. Is doing season 3, I believe, episode 13 of Psych this week, something like that. They broadcast, of course, on Thursdays, and then you can follow Doc over on Twitch at Backracker. Shime, you can follow him at Shime Time on Twitter, Twitch. Excuse me. Yeah, too many drinks, West, on this episode. And then Davey only streams over on YouTube on the #Dork page. Are we doing the Muppet? I know you had a Muppet idea, by the way. The idea that we had, we're not going to be able to do that idea.
I see. Okay,
but
that's fair.
Do you want to do that? Do you want to talk about my favorite Christmas movie next week, or do you want to do something else?
Let's hold that off for not next week, but the week after.
Okay, sounds good.
Or is that Spider-Man No Way Home?
Oh, geez. All right. Well, let's leave it at TBD, and you and I will figure out.
What I was thinking, maybe we could do an MCU rewatch vault, because it's been a minute since we've been back to that. But I think either way, Muppet Christmas Carol or an MCU rewatch vault over the next 2 weeks, one way or the other, and then Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, Spider-Man comes out. Is it the 23rd? Does that sound right? Like right before Christmas?
17th.
The 17th. Okay, good job, Nick. So then next week we could do the Christmas, and then we do the rewatch after that, or we'll do a
rewatch, and that'll be Thor Ragnarok, so it'll be nice.
So you know what? Here's the easiest way for all of you to know what we're going to talk about next week. Make sure you subscribe to the show in audio format, or follow us on Twitter at Change My Mind Pod, so you can watch the live show. Either way, you're going to get everything that you need if you just do one of those two things, or both. Do both. Why not? Right?
That is a fresher breath air of a closing, Nick.
That is a callback, ladies and gentlemen. So until next time, Wes.
Same bad time, same bad place.